Thank you, Maria. And hi, Therese. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are things over there in Mexico?
Hi, things are going very well here too. Well, first of all, thank you for your time and thank you for taking this interview. And I hope that everything is going fine during this pandemic that we are facing.
Absolutely. Same to you.
And well, as I was saying, this pandemic that we are facing has made a lot of changes in our daily lives and in all over the world. And I would like to ask you, what new measures will UberEats bring to support its partner restaurants now that some of them are facing some of the worst consequences of this pandemic?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking the question. As you said, it's an incredibly uncertain and difficult time for restaurants, and we're very much aware of that. And ever since the pandemic first emerged, we've really redoubled and highly accelerated our efforts to partner with restaurants to figure out what are the things that we can take off their plate, what are the things we can help them with so that they can focus on what they do best, which is cooking really good food. One of the things we noticed was a very accelerated shift to the online world, right? Restaurants, I think, have traditionally very much relied on in-store traffic, foot traffic coming into their stores. And obviously now that's not really the best option for a lot of cities and places in the world. And so what we've seen more and more is that eaters want to be able to still patronize the restaurant, still get the food that they love, but hopefully outside of the in-store setting. And what they're doing is they're trying to find these restaurants online, and they're trying to order food. And one of the things we're excited to be announcing is that we're going to be helping restaurants with this by providing them an end-to-end online ordering solution that they can embed within their own restaurant website that will make it super seamless and easy for an eater or a customer to essentially start an order whatever food they want, check out, pay for it, and have that food delivered end to end in a matter of minutes using the good old Uber magic without any hassle. And we want to make sure that on the restaurant side, this online ordering feature is very easy to set up and use as well, because we know that restaurant owners are busy. And so all a restaurant owner would have to do really once they sign up is embed a very small piece of code into their website that will then again kick off this entire flow. They don't have to code up or build their menus. They don't have to figure out how to integrate the payment widget. They don't have to worry about any of the e-commerce issues and analytics and just general development, technological development that perhaps they would have had to do on their own without this type of product. It's really a plug and play situation for them. They can get up and running in a matter of minutes and starting to take orders from their website in a matter of minutes. And best of all, for 2020, this is completely free to restaurants. We are not charging any commissions for any orders that go through this online ordering feature, because we really want this to be as helpful as possible. We don't want to give any restaurants any concerns or barriers to taking this up, because it'll be good for them and it'll be good for eaters as well.
Well, this sounds great because it's going to make easier for everyone to go to UberEats and to register to UberEats. I would like to ask you about the process that you were announcing last week about new metrics for restaurants, about data, about that. How was that process?
Yeah, exactly. So in addition to what I just talked about previously, we have actually announced a slew of other features and products that are really intended to help restaurant owners manage their business. And so one that maybe you've been alluding to is, we know that the most important thing for a restaurant is to be able to understand their customers, because if they understand their customers, they can cater their products, the way they do business, etc., to keep those customers coming back. And the most important thing that they can do is really analyze what the customer insights and behavior and data is showing to be able to take action. So we have launched what we call sort of a data and insights panel. This is accessible to any restaurant on UberEats through their merchant portal. And that insights panel, the first of its kind, shows the customer behavior throughout the entire journey of the customer on browsing that restaurant through Uber Eats. So think of this as Google Analytics for the restaurant's Eats presence. We'll show them how many people are even seeing their restaurant inside the app, how many are clicking on their restaurant and browsing their menu, how many are adding a specific item from the menu to their cart, and finally, how many are actually checking out and getting that menu delivered, sorry, that dish delivered. Through this, we hope to show restaurants where in the funnel maybe that their customers are falling off and suggest actionable insights for them to take so that they can preserve and retain most of their customers. You know, I think if you're familiar with sort of technology side, this is a very common thing in other e-commerce situations, but it's not really very common for restaurants to do this type of experimentation and data-led analysis and insight gathering. So we're really excited to be able to help them do this because once they have this information, it can be very, very powerful for them. So that's one. I think the other thing that's maybe worth noting is another product we released that's also first of its kind is a mobile app for restaurant owners. We know that restaurant owners are very busy, right? They're rarely at an office desk. They're either in the kitchen with their staff or they're bouncing around between different branches every day trying to oversee different locations and so on. So when they're on a go, we want to be able to give them a solution to continue to stay in touch with what's happening inside their kitchens. And the way we've done that is we've developed a mobile app in partnership with restaurants by taking their feedback. And this mobile app shows you a couple of things. One, it shows you your sales, your real-time earnings, your real-time operational metrics, your earnings trends, your even top selling items, etc. So that at any given time, a restaurant owner can pull up that app and see how every single one of their locations is doing. But the feature that's really resounded the most, honestly, when we've started testing this out in the wild with restaurants is what we call real-time alerting. We can now tell a restaurant owner, alert a restaurant owner in real time if something goes wrong inside their kitchen. So for example, if the staff accidentally unplugs the Uber Eats tablet, and which makes them stop taking orders on Uber Eats because they're cleaning the counters. Or if a staff ends up canceling a slew of orders, right, which again is you know a big loss to the business of the restaurant. We will immediately detect that and send that to the restaurant owner in real time so that the restaurant owner is aware and can therefore do things like call the restaurant staff up and say, hey, let's work through what the problem might be together. We found that this type of real-time alerting has been so well received in terms of feedback by restaurant owners. They just love being able to know what's going on, even if they're not at the restaurant at the moment. So again, another great feature, and both of these are, as you'd say, completely free to restaurants.
In the development of these features that you are telling us, I would like to ask you, how does the Uber Eats experience in Mexico, what is the role of the Uber Eats experience in Mexico in the development of these global products that you're announcing?
Absolutely. So we are a global company. We think it's incredibly important to take the pulse of restaurants on the ground wherever we are serving them, right? And so that means we are not an American-led company that only listens, for example, to American restaurants. We actually, in the past, we would travel frequently. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now, so we do it over video conference, but we would speak specifically to restaurant owners around the world. And this has happened. I've personally gone down to Mexico City a number of times and met with restaurant owners in Mexico City to sort of ask them, what are you seeing on the ground? How do you operate your kitchens? What would be helpful to you? And we take all of that insights, we actually build that into our global products, because at the end of the day, this product is not going to be used if it doesn't meet the needs of each of our restaurants in each of our cities. And so, for example, in Latin America, what I found is that restaurants tend to be quite diverse in terms of the cuisines they serve, and they tend to have owners who are just very involved in a very sort of competitive environment, especially in the cities where there are lots of food places and areas for people to eat. And so what we've seen is that the restaurant owners over there really appreciate this sort of like, hey, you understand how busy we are. You have to make it easy for us to understand the data. You have to make it easy for us to manage our staff. You have to make it easy for us to integrate with your technology. And even things like the the fact that like, you know, our app should be in different languages, should be very easy to localize. It should be, you know, a way in which like you can customize your menu for cuisines and items that are very specific to Mexico, as an example. Those are things we all pay attention to because we know that we don't want to sanitize this just for a sort of generic global audience.
Therese, I would like to ask you about, as we said before, the COVID pandemic has been a challenge for all of us, and many people maybe lost their jobs, and now they want to be entrepreneurs and want to open a restaurant, and maybe they will try to use UberEats to help them. I would like to ask you about what is the message that UberEats sends to these new entrepreneurs who are entering in this in this market of, of restaurants and food.
Absolutely. I think first of all, you know, as a person myself, and many of the people who work at Uber Eats just personally love food. It is an incredible, we think restaurants are an incredible part of society's fabric. And we'd be really, really sad to see that go away despite the during the uncertain times. And so I think the message I want to deliver is that Uber Eats is here to partner with you so that you can focus on what you do best, which is making your very, very delicious food, right? We're here with you to solve, I think generally restaurants have two main things that they want to address as part of their business. One is they want to grow, right? They want to get new customers. They want to get more sales, more food, because that's what keeps them alive. That's what keeps them able to pay their staff and generally make this as a living, as a business. And Uber Eats is a great solution for that because we have around the world, you know, over 100 million sort of users of Uber as a whole, Uber Eats and Uber Rides. And we want to make sure that every single one of those people gets the chance to like discover your restaurant, eat at your restaurant, order food from your restaurant. The second thing that restaurants want to make sure they do when there's, you know, looking at all these different types of solutions and products, it has to be super easy for them, right? Because again, they want to focus on their food, not on trying to set up a way to receive delivery orders, or not on trying to hire delivery people to manage their orders and so on. And so we want to take all the hassle of that. You know, we are the ones who are going to take that on. We are going to figure out the best logistical process to get food from your restaurant to the eater's home in just a few minutes. We're going to figure out how to ensure that food is still of high quality. We're going to give you ways, as I mentioned before, for eaters to order very seamlessly using the payment method they want on your website or on the Uber Eats app. All of that, I think, should help restaurants just have an easier time at it, especially if they're setting up their new business now.
Therese, I want to thank you for your time. I have a last question. I would like to ask you about the challenges that Uber Eats will face by the end of this year and maybe the beginning of the next year, that we all hope that it's going to be a great year, better than this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're no stranger to challenges. We see them really as opportunities, and I think the biggest thing that's facing the whole industry right now, even as we continue to recover from this pandemic, is that restaurants and Uber Eats along with it are faced with a choice, which is to embrace the new ways of doing things or to try and go back to the old ways. And the message I have is that there is going to be a new normal. This new normal for restaurants will require them to think outside of the normal boxes that they usually think on right now, which is, hey, let me lease out a restaurant space in a location and get as many people eating inside the restaurant as possible. That will continue to remain. However, we really think a lot of the eating behaviors are migrating online. Ordering is happening more online, and it's so important for a restaurant to pay as much attention as they do to their in-store presence with their digital presence, with their website, the way eaters can find and search for them and discover them, the way eaters can order food from them, the way eaters can get food delivered so that they don't have to go to the restaurant to eat the food anymore. Those types of behaviors, I think, have been accelerated by this pandemic. And we don't see that that will ever change anymore. I think there's going to be a new normal. Delivery is going to be a much bigger part of every restaurant's business. And so restaurants really need to be prepared for that kind of trend. And I think, 2021, I am very excited to be continuing the legacy of innovation that we've started even in the past on UberEats to help restaurants. You can expect things like more data, more insights, more tools, more ways, more services in which we can help restaurants just do those two things I mentioned: attract more customers in business, and also remove the headache out of running their operations, because those are the two things we tend to do best.
Thank you. Really, I want to thank you for your time, Therese. And I would like to ask you if you would like to add something to the interview.
I think we covered a lot. I think, in terms of product features we've launched, there are actually a bunch more. For example, I'll just give you one example we haven't talked about yet is now restaurants are able to directly correspond with an eater inside our merchant portal. And what that allows them to do is really build a relationship with their eaters, right? So for example, if an eater rates them as 5 stars and really loves their food, and the eater says, I really love your food, the restaurant can respond and say, thank you for being a loyal patron. Here's, $5 off your next order. Or if the eater, leaves a poor review and says, this doesn't really go well, again, the restaurants can respond and say, we're sorry you had not a great experience. We hope you'll consider trying us again. Here's another discount coupon. This sort of direct communication, and also like ability for restaurants to issue things like perks and discounts and coupons really helps strengthen that relationship. And I think UberEats is really about building that partnership, not just with us, but between the restaurant and the eater as well. So you're going to see a lot more of that going forward, and I'm super excited to be able to tell more of your readers about it soon.
Thank you. And well, for me, that's all. I don't know if Maria or they have to say something. I forgot to start my video, kind of on purpose, but I'm starting it now because I wanted the interview to be clean without me.
Oh, no. It was completely fine either way, but it's wonderful to see you in person as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miguel. This was amazing. Thank you very much for your time and for your space. And thank you, Therese. If you need any extra information, Miguel, we're right here. Just text me and we'll get it for you.
Thank you very much. And thank you all.
Well, have a great day.
You too.